Welcome to the weekly wrap-up show, and today we'll be talking about QQQ, Sp500, and 7 mega cap tech stocks. And I'll be doing the commodities and natural gas tomorrow, so I have a more time to do both of them with longer videos and more infos. So this week, has been a pretty volatile week, as you guys can see with the Jackson Hole, Jerome today talking about inflation and Nvidia earnings and tons of stuff going on this week. And so let's get started. So we are looking at earnings for next week. And the only thing I'm looking at would be AVGO, Broadcom. And so that's going to affect the semiconductor sector, which will also affect the QQ as well, just like Nvidia did this week. And after today's speech from Jerome, we can see that the rate hike probability is starting to shift, that we have one more. We're going to get a hold, very likely, in September. And then in November and December, we potentially might get one more hike. So this could still change. So let's say September and October, we get better inflation data. This would very likely tick down, and then we potentially will just get the hold for the rest of the year. So we'll see about that. As of now, after the speech, we are pricing in a potential another 25 basis point hike. And with AI sentiment data, we can see how bearish this week was. Makes sense after such a significant drop in the market in a short period of time. But now we're going to be looking at the charts to see if this could potentially be marking the temporary bottom, or are we going to get more downside? So let's start with QQ. And if you guys want to jump to any tickers of the mega cap tech stocks, if you click the timestamp below, I put them in the comments. And if you guys learn anything from the video, feel free to subscribe, and let's get started. So QQ, we were talking about this for a couple of weeks, where just follow the trend on the daily time frame. So when we confirm the daily downtrend here, pretty much we got a lot of follow through from the bears, right? So we reached about to when we hit 355-ish level. This level of support is pretty much the level of zone that bulls need to play defense. Otherwise, they don't have a lot of defense power down here, because the lack of volume. You can see how little volume there is in this area. So if bulls let the bears break through this level, right, it's going to come down to closer to the zone where it's going to be no volumes, and that could potentially be a red flag for them. So essentially, now we're not out of the woods yet. So you guys can see here where we had a decent bounce. You guys know how I talk about the size of the move. Size of the bounce or size of the pullback is going to determine the next move, right? So we had a decent bounce, 5%, right? But this candle kind of ruined a lot of things. But we are still making a higher low, meaning this low is currently higher than this low. So the question for next week is, are we going to form that daily uptrend where we break this high? Or are we going to roll over and form that weekly downtrend? So that's going to be super key for me. Weekly downtrends means now we're going to start looking into more pullbacks if we do confirm the weekly downtrend. You can see this is the move, this is the drop, now this is the bounce, and now can the bears confirm the weekly downtrend? Meaning we have to break this 355 level for the bears. And if that confirms, we're likely going to come down to this 347, because weekly trends takes time to shape up and is more significant in the longer run. So if the bears can actually confirm the weekly downtrend, we'll have to zoom out into the monthly. Eventually say this could be a monthly equilibrium that might shape up into next year, close to end of next year. That's like the scenario that nobody wants to see, because it's very boring. Say we chop, from this equilibrium into next year, that would take us into May of 2025 if we do close to the end of the pattern. But so that's like the last thing we want to see, going sideways like that into a tightening range for either bulls or the bears. But we'll see. First step the bears need to do is confirm that weekly downtrend and breaking this 355 level. And for the bulls, get back above the daily EMA 12, which we tested it in the morning but then we had a nice move into the end of the day, but we didn't get back to it. But we need to break above this 372. Otherwise, this daily uptrend is not confirmed yet. So right now we're still in a neutral trend. But a good save by the Bulls playing defense today. So if we close down here today at the middle of the day, then that would be the probability of us confirming a weekly downtrend would be quite high next week. But as of now, it's still right in between. So 50-50 chance here. You can see we are not close to the high or we're close to the low. We're pretty much right in between. So anybody's game. Bears could show up just as well Monday or Tuesday, bring it back down again, and try to test this, break this zone. Or Bulls can show up and we'll test the zone again. We'll see. As of now, let's take a look at the hourly. Hourly doesn't give us a lot of clues at this moment. But the only thing we can say is that now the Bulls have a big enough bounce on the hourly where now they can potentially shape up that hourly trend change back to their favor. So we'll see if the Bulls can do that on the next move. Ideally, we want to see hourly get to overbought on the RSI, and then we pull back a little bit, making the higher low, and then break that prior high again for the hourly uptrend to confirm. So we'll see if the Bulls can do that. Or Bears play defense, double top, and we roll over again. So we'll see on Monday. All right, let's take a look at the Sp500. Very similar to QQQ, but it was outperforming QQQ today. 0.7. It was outperforming in the morning. Let's see if it did in the day. Yeah, similar. After QQQ ended up catching up at closer to the second half of the day. So it's good. But we're still not over that 12 EMA as well. So very similar to QQQ. Same question. Can Bulls confirm break that top? Or are we going to break this pivot low? So we're going to confirm a daily uptrend or not. As of now, SPY is actually still in a daily downtrend because this high did not break the prior pivot's high. So we didn't break this high, meaning this SPY is still in a daily downtrend, even though this bounce was big enough. But we'll see if Bulls can come back up to 445 and confirm the daily uptrend back to their favor. If not, then we'll continue to play the daily downtrend and scout the weekly downtrend as well. Weekly still in one move for a SPY actually. So even if I breaks that, I would still count this as one move because we never went above the prior pivot. There's no pivot point in SPY yet, but we may shape up a potential weekly head and shoulders if bear shows up. So gotta be a little bit cautious around this area. It's a lot of indecisions at this current moment. So we don't have a clear trend like we had during the summer. And just like we had a clear trend for QQQ, over here, a clear downtrend weekly, and we had a clear uptrend here. Right now, we are in a pivot zone where there is indecision. So we have to see whoever breaks that daily trend first will get the fall through, likely. So if Bulls breaks this top, likely gonna get more falls to potentially retest the all-time highs. If Bears break this weekly downtrend, we're definitely coming back down to this 428 zone to test this zone. So we will see. All right, let's talk about Nvidia. Nvidia had stellar earnings, $25 billion buybacks, and great guidance. So why did it drop? It made sense because if everyone was expecting good earnings, there's likely going to be a lot of profit taking, right? Hitting all-time highs. It's like my brush is not working. I'm just gonna. I'll just open a new one. It doesn't make sense. Nvidia hitting all-time highs. It's gonna be a lot of profit taking as well as it was into Jackson Hole. So there's a lot of fears from last year making sense where people are de-risking. So See that drop, 10% drop. It's technically speaking, we can say it's a blow off top, but the structure of the charts is still intact. Should we broke the, let's see here. You can call this a pivot. This little wick where you broke below this wick, or you can call this a double bottom. It depends on you, but I would count this as just one move, and now we're testing this pivot again. So as long as Nvidia breaks holds above the 12 EMA, as well as holding above this triple bottom level zone, close to this 450, 52 zone, I'll say the daily uptrend is still intact. So now, can the bulls shape up and at least retest 480? It's gonna be my first target would be 470 right here, and then my second target would be 480 for the bulls to test. Then it'll be back to psychological level of 500 again, close to here. So now bulls did bounce off here, but it's still relatively weak, on 2.4%, while QQ was up 0.8%. So it's been relatively weak for the past 2 days, and hourly downtrend is going to be our guide. Sees a very clear hourly downtrend. No signs of fake out yet, and you can see every bounce rejected from the 12 EMA. So you can use this as your guide for short-term trading. And as long as bulls can't go there with the 12 EMA on the hourly, they aren't really going to play any offense or go anywhere. They did play a little bit of defense into the end of the day, but you can argue that it's because QQQ bounced as well for quite a significant bounce, actually. And Nvidia did not participate that much compared to QQQ. So we'll see if Nvidia can start outperforming again, or at least be relatively equal to QQQ and SMH, the semiconductor sector. As of now, the last 2 days, it's a little bit weaker. If we do break this 450 zone, we are very likely going to come down and test 437 again. So we'll see. But we'll definitely need to hold the zone. All right, let's take a look at Tesla. So Tesla pretty much bounced perfectly where I said it would likely bounce from last week. Yeah, when I did the last Saturday video. And now it's relatively stronger, because when I talked about growth stocks where it's sometimes relatively weaker on the drop, it will become relatively stronger on the bounce as well. Obviously, not all growth stocks do that. You don't want, especially the ones that don't make money. They don't do that at all. But the ones that do make money and people more traction of the company, these things happens where there you can see this relative strength as well when it was bouncing, when QQ was bouncing that whole summer, and Tesla made a even bigger move, right? So hence when we drop, also have a relative weakness drop as well. But now on this bounce, we also have relative strength. So just more volatile overall, and take advantage of that in both directions. So this is already a 13% bounce. See 3.72% today compared to QQ, and it closed at its high of its day versus QQ was closing close to, not nearly as close. You can see we still have a big wick, not that big, but still a wick above us, QQ, while Tesla closing at the high of its day. Now the question is, we pretty much very clear resistance, quadruple top right there at 240, 239 zone. And if we do break that, we are coming back to this structure and see where the most volume was traded, because it was very easy to bounce here from here because the lack of volume. Remember when I talk about lack of volume, very easy to cut through as well, both sides when you go both ways. So from here, bouncing to here was very easy. And now we are coming back up to the low of this structure. So there's going to be acting as resistance. So when you break above it, it's going to be a little bit tougher. And if we do break above that, we're coming back up to this 252 zone. And then we'll see how it trades from there. And if we do reject that, then our nearest current support down here as well, triple bottom, is going to be at 230. If we break 230, then we're probably coming down to 223. So, but we need QQ to be pretty red as well for next week if that's going to happen. So we'll see how QQ is going to trade, and we'll look at the rest of the big tech stocks, give us more ideas where potentially where QQ might be trading. So let's take a look at Apple. So Apple here was the outperformer. And remember talking about this last Saturday, so we could potentially get a bear break and V-shape due to the amount of drops. We already have to drop over from here to here. Oh, essentially what we got. And now Apple is outperforming QQ as well. Essentially, now it's making also a higher low. So this low is higher than this low. So can Apple as well shape up the daily uptrend by breaking back above this 181.55, or shape up that weekly downtrend as well? You can see the huge drop. Now, this is the pivot that's set the weekly. If you break below this prior pivot, that's a weekly downtrend confirmed for the very first time since any of us can remember that Apple confirmed a weekly downtrend. It would be back here, December of 2022. So you can call this one right here a weekly downtrend as well. So, but the most recent one will be December 2022. So it's been a while since Apple confirmed a weekly downtrend, so that'll be very significant. You can see on the 12 EMA, we also tested there as well. But so we don't want to say that that the bulls don't have a chance. They do have a chance because of the size of this bounce that they can potentially. And then they also play defense here today as well, so they can potentially have a chance to break above this 181, confirm daily uptrend back to their favor, and negate that weekly downtrend from the bears. It's very key for all these tech stocks to see if they can come from a weekly downtrend or negate it and get back their daily uptrends on a daily time frame. It's going to be very key for all these stocks. Hourly, same thing as QQ, big enough bounce where they can potentially shape it up as well. Yeah, a lot of defense playing today for the Bulls, but I want to see some offense going on early next week, Monday or Tuesday. Amazon, bear break, lacking follow through. You can see we broke through this super strong resistance. Prior resistance is going to act as support. Tested it on Friday, didn't get through it. Today, tested it again, went through it, came right back up. It means it's bear break, lacking follow through. So when most likely scenario is when we break one side without follow through, it's going to be the past resistance is the other side. So you look at the hourly. Now this is a big enough bounce as well, where we can potentially shape up the hourly trend. If we get an hourly uptrend back to Bull's favor on Amazon here, then we can definitely confirm it was a bear break with lacking zero follow through. And we can say right now we can say that already due to size of the bounce, but we don't have as much confidence yet until we get the hourly uptrend back in your favor. Eventually, our inverse head and shoulder, hourly inverse head and shoulders here. Maybe get a little bit pullback on the Monday morning, and then from the hourly uptrend back. So we'll see. And if we do break above that, I am looking back up at this structure here, this sideways structure. So we want to break above 134 for Amazon bulls, come back into this structure, get back to 136, and 3 bears. Same thing, break below this super strong 131 resistance. Now it's support. If you guys can do that. Google next. So Google, very simple, chop zone. All of us can see where the support resistance is. It's just essentially the sideways zone. So we're looking at, let me do this real quick. So we're looking at 127 and roughly 133. This zone. It's going to keep chopping around here until we get resolved. But at the moment, what we want to talk about is the size of the bounce. The size of this bounce is 6%, where it's big enough where it gives bulls rooms. You guys know how I always talk about gives bull rooms to make that higher low, meaning the low is going to be higher than prior low. Why? It's very important because look how much we drop. We dropped 5%, and we still made a higher low. Imagine if we only bounced 2.5%, right? That's not giving bulls enough room where when it drops, next thing you know, we're making a lower low, right? But when we bounce 6%, now we're holding a higher low where we can potentially say this is going to be the higher low because of the bounce. But we don't know that yet until we get the hourly uptrend back to our favor. And then we can say more confidently. But as of now, we did V-shape. So we can say with some confidence that this could pretty much potentially be the higher low being set. And now the next move is for the bulls to play offense. See if we can break above this Thursday's high. And if we do that, then Google finally has its daily uptrend back to their favor to the bulls, because the zone is just so choppy that we can't really confirm the trend here as of now. But so bulls jobs is to play offense early next week and break above Thursday's high for most names. We'll see. But good on Google bulls for holding the support. It was acting as resistance prior, and now we are holding it as support. So it's a good sign. So now that they actually play defense. We'll see on Microsoft. Microsoft, very similar. You can see the stronger names retrace less than the weaker names. You can see Google retraced pretty much all the way down here, right? And Microsoft didn't. Microsoft retraced closer to probably 50%. Let's take a look here. Yeah, closer to 50% or 0.618, closer to the golden pocket zone. So stronger names usually retrace close to that. So it makes sense because you see Microsoft has been underperforming for a while. And so when it starts to bounce, it will outperform the ones that didn't underperform as much while Google was going sideways, right? Microsoft was dropping. So now it's outperforming a little bit now, catching up. So very similar. This higher low being set, and potentially if we do break above this resistance 325, you can see these levels where it's acting as resistance a couple of times. We need to get above that. Then we can say Microsoft bulls can potentially test this high if we do get above 325 and 330. This two zones can be the ones I'm looking at. And this is the last level, 332, 333 zone. And we have our first daily uptrend back since in July, right here, when we had this daily downtrend confirmed back here. You can see the follow through from the bears after that first daily downtrend. Is back all the way here. We never confirmed a daily downtrend until got a very clear one here. So you can see the bears following through from that. So yeah, so trends are very important to follow, especially on the daily. And if you guys play short-term trading, of course, we'll be looking at the 15-minute, 5 minutes, and hourly, but that's a different topic. And as of now, same thing. Most of these tech names V-shaped into the end of the day, but still no trend changes yet in the hourly. So we want to see the trend change back to their favor for us to be able to be more convinced that those hourly higher lows are set. Meta, very similar. As you can see, when it was underperforming, we have retraced almost 100% of the move, right? But still making a higher low, meaning the low of this pivot is higher than the prior pivot. Bulls still have a chance as well, since they did play defense, bounced into the end of the day as well. The next level I'm looking at for Meta, 289, break that. We're looking back at 12 EMA, which has been acting as support on the way up. Now it's going to act as resistance on the way down. So you can see we have been rejecting from the 12 EMA a couple of times here already. So this fourth time, when we come out to test it, I want to see it break above that. And then we're coming out to the last pause, which is to 298 and this 299, 300 level. See this cluster of resistance here. And we also rejected on Thursday. So we're going to be under that. So we have 3 resistance to break. And if we do that, then bulls are out of the woods and they are back in a daily uptrend as well. And now we're looking back up to 313 if that does happen. So a lot of work for bulls to do on the offense side, and for you bears, you also be wanting to confirm those weekly downtrends on a lot of these big names for QQ to shape up the weekly downtrend. And if that does happen, then that's a big narrative shift. Let me go to QQ real quick. Yeah, because you guys know when I talked about the monthly chart. So if we do get that weekly downtrend shaping up, right, that's a huge narrative shift because we did not have a weekly downtrend confirm ever since back. Let's see here. This is one straight move. Technically, you could say this is a weekly downtrend. Sorry, excuse me. But the last clear one for me would be one straight move. It's a higher high. So nope. So the last clear one for me would be over here on this weekly downtrend. Yeah. In a while. So it's been almost a year since we had a weekly downtrend confirmed. It's gonna be a big shift if we do get a weekly downtrend confirmed from the bears. Obviously, there could be a potential where it's a weekly downtrend confirming lacking follow through, but we don't know that yet until it happens, right? So we take the charts. If we do confirm weekly downtrend, then we start to zoom out into the monthly and to look for that equilibrium until we safely say, let's say we break that weekly downtrend and start to confirm a monthly equilibrium, and we head down here, right? Let's say we do a 50% retracement, right? Not that much to ask for, right? Or 0.382 monthly bull flag. Let's say we're forming a monthly bull flag, and then we come down to over here, and we come to 339. Then we bounce, right? And then let's say we form a daily uptrend here. Then we can potentially safely say that could be marking the bottom of the monthly trend if daily uptrend confirms. But that's a lot of weeks and months to go still. But that way, I'm just giving you guys a potential scenario if the weekly downtrend does confirm. And if it does confirm, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world, right? Monthly is still a bull flag, right? That's how we come down on here. So bull flag means the chances of it bouncing and confirming a bull flag, right? Next thing we know, we're all-time highs end of the year. That could also happen, right? We come down to 239, bull flag still intact, bounce into the end of the month, end of the year, and then next thing we know, we're coming out to test our potential recent highs. So that could possibly happen as well. So we'll see who's gonna be winning this battle. Pretty key next week. We're just right in the middle, so that zone where ends will tell us where we're gonna go very soon. And that's what I got for you guys. And tomorrow I'll be doing the natural gas and gold and silver as well for you guys for commodities traders. And yeah, feel free to subscribe, guys, learn anything, as well as have a great rest of you guys this weekend. And feel free to comment below if you guys have any questions. And I will see you guys tomorrow.